I didn't realise we'd elapsed our 5 minutes of starting soon. Hello, friends. Hi. To watch jumpsuit info. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But yes, how are we, Blair? How are you, Berry? How are you? How was work? I hope. Yeah, I hope work went okay. Cause ew. Yeah. I hope we're all doing good. I feel like I haven't streamed in like a while, but it's only been like 3 days. You good, good, good. I'm glad. Tiring, I can imagine. Yes, I can imagine. Ooh, try and sort some laundry out. Cool, cool. 8K steps around the same building. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, sit and vibe with the little models. Love that for you. Love that for you. I had Berry. I wish I'd had my phone on me while I was doing the really late move. Oh my god, Blair, I don't think I told you what I did. Right, so, okay. On Sunday, I was in work, right, as one does. And on a Sunday, our store shuts at 5 o'clock. Would you like to know what time I left the store on Sunday, considering we shut at 5 o'clock? I left my store at 9:45 at night. 9:45. No. No. Yeah, exactly, Blair, exactly. So... Oh god, yeah, I was paid for it, it's fine. But... No, it was grim. It was vile. We, basically Christmas is happening. And for Christmas, there's respectfully, some fucker is sat in an office all day and he's like, ooh, yeah, you could put all of the pens over there, all the notebooks over there, all of the lever arch files over there, and like none of it is where it already was. So it's like, great, thanks. I'll just go fuck myself then. So that's what me and my manager did, just us two. Like the fucking Chuckle Brothers were like to me to youing shelves all night until like 9:45. So yeah, that's why I didn't stream on Sunday, because I was busy. But as well, my manager Don Paulo said, oh yeah, you know, maybe stay till like 8. Bruh. At no point did he say 10 o'clock. My brother in Christ. But anyway, going back to the point, yeah, I wish I'd had my phone on me so I could have seen how many steps I did that day, because my legs were like lead by the end of it. Crikey. Sorry, I'm just checking he did actually update the rotor to say that I stayed till 10. I think he did, but I'm getting paid for that. What day was it? That one, 29th. Yes, it's been updated to see on the rotor 1 o'clock until 10 p.m. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. New nails. I was going to pivot to talk about my new nails. Yes, it is a new colour. Oh yeah, I've not sent any photos. I meant to put some photos in the Discord. Yeah, they don't show that well. I feel like it's a... Oh, hi, Bailey. Hi. I don't feel like... No, I feel like it's quite a classy purple, where most of my purples are quite like... quite bright. But yes, I will take proper photos and send them in the Discord. But yes, hope you're doing well too, Bailey. Hi, hi. Yeah. Love the shadow, thanks. It is... Not that one. Where is it? Instagram? Stop emailing me. Oh, wait. No, it's not even that one. What is it? Where is it? Oh, it's here. Oh my god. I've got too many nail colours, besties. It is... Marquise. I don't know, but it's like a... You can't really see in the low light. But it is purple-ish. It's to a degree purple. Sorry, I keep needing to clear my throat today. Well, this stream, I mean. Recently ordered one, which is red to black multichrome. Ooh. Is that... When you say multichrome, is that the one that's like heat-based? Is that, or is that something else? So excited for it. I mean, that does sound good. Black to red. Red to black, yeah. Very nice. I just realised my Wii U is still plugged in. I could turn that off, couldn't I? Something else. They're the thermal ones, okay. Please stand by while I Google the word multi-chrome. How the hell does that work? Oh, it's angles. Oh, interesting. Shiny, okay. Let's chrome nail polish. Oh my god. Okay. Almost like the whole top row is just like my colours, like purples and blues, like oh my god. I feel like you often get that brand, don't you? I feel like oh, you can't see it. I feel like you get that brand. Yeah, I just read another one there, where was it? Oh no, that one I think. Oh my god. Give me that. Ew, £11.23, but like, ooh. It's £11.23 that I don't have, but oh no, I do. Blair likes a brand, and I do think it's that one. I think I recognise the diamondy logo. The gold one's nice as well. I will keep that in mind. Oh, they changed the logo recently. Upset, that'll throw me off. I'm opening their website now so I can see their new branding. Oh, is it like a crescent moon thing? That's nice. Yeah, okay. Oh, the website is taking a long time to load though. Like, with respect, a long time to load. Just move all the notes and stuff. Ah, I see. The website's always a little fucky, okay. Yeah, no, because they look really nice. Oh, glow-in-the-dark nails. Oh, fancy. Magma. Please hold. I'm having a nails moment. Drop. Nail polish. The website's loading. Please stand by. But yeah. Ooh, Blossom's nice. Sorry, I know you can't see it. Watch me just scroll right past it and not see it. Wait. Oh, it's in alphabetical order. Oh, I'm silly. Wait, is it? Because I don't see one called Magma, if it's in alphabetical order. No, it is. It's definitely alphabetical order. Huh. Let's see a Magma. Oh well. They rotate stock every 3 months, yeah. Yeah, no, it's keeping you buying. Yeah, no, some of those are quite nice. Wait, I'm waiting. Oh, wow. You must have just got in there. Wow, okay. Oh, if I search for it, I do see it. It was leaving stock, okay. Is it like quite a dark colour? I think I see it, yeah. Yeah. When I went on the main list, it wasn't there. Nice, though. Pretty. Oh, I see the colours, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Nice. That's what you got. Nice, though. So pretty. Yes, yes. Please send photos. Oh. I've just turned my own headphones down. Okay. So, I was thinking of doing some Layton today, because the last couple streams we've done some Zelda. So, I would be up for some Layton. But, 2 absolute jams in a row came on. Sticker Bush and Aquatic Ambience. I just want to chat now. What else do I have to talk about? I don't know. I don't know what conversation I have for you. Barry, if you're still lurking here, I found out. I realised I forgot to tell you. I found out. You know how we're getting like our main Christmas thing is we're getting a whole new department within the store. For legal reasons, I'm being vague. I found out the date that's happening. Like a couple days ago. I need to tell you that, but I won't tell you that on stream. I'm just kind of yapping so I can listen to this amazing song. But yeah, I really yep. On the system there is, and I quote, a grand opening day, which is a Saturday. So hopefully it's a you problem, not me. Hopefully it's going to be you wearing the giraffe costume and not me, because no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, you're going to die. I think we both are. Okay, Blair, I'll give you some slightly more context in Discord DMs, because if I say it out loud, it's going to get a bit doxy. I'm not wearing a giraffe costume. Right, the joke has already been made that I'm wearing the giraffe costume, and I've told Don Paulo, yeah, he can forget it, absolutely not. DM sent to Blair. But yeah, no, I found when that is. Don't get paid enough already in a hot flush just for your fleece on. It's not happening. Truly. Like, if you don't like wearing a coat, you're not going to wear a giraffe costume, are you? I don't know what I wanted to, by the way. He should wear it. Somebody said Steve is going to wear it. I don't know if Steve has said that, or if someone's just like, ha, Steve's going to wear it. But I don't think Steve is that opposed to wearing the giraffe costume. Bestie, don't call it a fursuit. Oh my god. I was not prepared for the fursuit. My god. Yes, Sabine. For corporate reasons, a member of staff in our store is going to have to wear a giraffe costume, which... The word fursuit had not crossed my mind, Berry. Thank you for that. The thought hadn't occurred, okay? I mean, it is a fursuit. This is pivoting slightly. Do giraffes have fur. Is it fur that they have? What would you call that? But why? For branding purposes, Sabine, without wanting to disclose too directly where I work, for branding reasons, there will be an opportunity. Right, here is a Google. Do giraffes have fur or hair? Bodies of giraffe are covered with skin. Thank you. Their skin is covered in short, tan, and brown fur. It's not surprising since giraffes are mammals and all mammals have hair or fur on their body. It is fur. The consensus seems to be fur. Yeah. What is the difference between hair and fur? I wouldn't say I'm furry. I don't know. Is it just like density? But like the top of my head's not furry, so like... I don't know. Sorry. Hello, Sabine. I hope you're doing well. You joined at quite the moment, didn't you? Snow's not a furry. I'm not a furry. That's... Okay, noted, Berry, noted. That's just like the umbrella term that represents fur, wool, etc. I believe. Interesting. Fur and hair difference. Hair is usually described as longer, finer, often wavy or curly, and has a longer growth cycle, while fur is described as shorter, denser, and has a shorter growth cycle, resulting in more frequent shedding. Interesting. Interesting. Nothing wrong with being a furry. Very true. If anybody in here is a closeted or otherwise furry, this is a safe space for you. But I have no desire to wear a fursuit for corporate reasons or otherwise. Tweet sent. There you go. Got straight into it, we really did. Yes, hi. Hi, Sabine. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Sabine, how's your work situation? Do you have moral responsibilities? Is that, if that's happened yet, I hope that's going well. Of course, you don't have to talk about it. But yes, I hope that's going well, lovely. Didn't expect to stream... because I'm busy. I have been busy. I was busy over the weekend, but how's the busy work life going? It's fun. It's not really busy. It's more outside of work. Like I went and saw family, and to be fair, Sunday was really busy. But yeah, no, it's been alright. It's been fine. But yes, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah. Also, can't imagine a corporate fursuit's going to be A, nice to wear, or B, comfy, or C, washed. Like, I don't, because I assume this suit travels the country. Like, well, how do? They're not. I don't think they're going to wash it. What, like pudsey levels? Let me off stream. Let me find it. Cheap viewers. How about you get in the bin? I don't think that even showed up for everybody really. Copy image. Sniped it. What sniped it? Was it a bot? Was it? Because I don't think I have Seribot installed. I assume Blair. it's going to be something like what's in our Discord DMs. And that's not fitting in a washing machine at the best of times. Like it's a giraffe, so its neck is erect. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know how it's going to fit in a washing machine, because it's like, but like even theirs, because I know they have big ones, but like how do you wash? What other word is there? It's big. It's tall. It's. I said what I said. Very long, tall. Yeah, but you knew exactly what I meant, and we're all having a good time. Standing upright. I think mine got the point across better. Okay. Sorry, I'm just looking through images of my impending doom that is this corporate change that's about to happen. Sure, Bestie, thanks. Thanks, I appreciate your support. Lucky, never seen a giraffe neck that's not erect. See, I feel comfortable using the word erect on stream, but for some reason the word flaccid just makes it sound worse, like a flaccid giraffe. Should we play some Professor Layton? I feel like this has gone too far. But no, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's worse. I think that's worse. If anybody's new in the stream or is here for Professor Layton, I'm so sorry. If there's regulars here, you asked for this, so, you know. I say you asked for this, you chose to be here. I can't think with music on. Should we do Layton? Yippee! We helped you. Of course, I love it though. There are some side quests. Do you have side quests for me, Sabine? Because I can go back to just chatting if you've got side quests for us. The app is odd side quest. Yeah, no, we're all side questing here. It's all good. I nearly opened the wrong game then. We were about to play Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. If it's going to play. There we go. Thanks, bestie. Thanks for the 8 months subscribing. 8th month streak as well with Prime. You mad lad. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Shall we play some game? I can't remember where we were up to. I don't know what's happened. Guard tower. That doesn't help me. Oh, is it a bit sad at the end of last stream? I can't remember. Yeah, prove that she isn't a witch, I think is where we were. Oh, because the little boy, Tony is the gardener, because the sister's never seen a gardener and her brother in the same room at the same time, apparently. But like the little bro just wants to protect her, I think. I think that's where we were. Story so far. We did that reveal, yes. After talking to Ariana and Tony, Leighton realises that the whole case is tied to the death of their father. The group head to the police station to search the archives for information about Bard's death. Sabine, if you know, don't answer this, but is Krosky in this game? I love how I just asked the question but said don't answer it. Is Krosky in this game? I don't know. Because I thought he would have been in it by now. Do you have anything for me, Cat? Nope. I had the answer, I will keep it, okay. I thought only rich people lived in High Yard Hill. Yeah, this place is really shabby. Wouldn't let my dog stay here. I don't think it's worth going to Bucky, is it? Because we're only going this way. I love the flossing kid, I know. And then it's over here. Do you have anything for me now? That Spectre better stop stomping round town soon. It's starting to cramp my style. Want to see this giant Spectre thingy up close, but that sounds pretty scary. I don't think I like that guy. And we've spoken to them all before, their dialogue's not refreshed. Nobody gets in without the chief say so. Move along now. Oh, really? Well, we have rather urgent business here with the chief, so let us in. Now. Alright, hold your horses. Why didn't you just say so in the first place? Crikey. Right, alright, go on in then. Welcome to Miss Dallery Police Station. My name is Herschel Leighton. I'm investigating the Spectre by request of the Mayor. I need to take a look at some of your records. Well, Chief's out investigating the Spectre as well, and we don't let the public in without his permission. Sorry if it's official it's official policy. I can't show you a thing until he gets back. We send copies to Scotland Yard every year though. If you need something, why not look there? Are we leaving Miss Dallery? Yeah, that's quite a way to go. When do you expect the chief will be back? Hard to say, really. Could be as few as 5 hours, could be as many as 10. Crikey. I see. Thank you. You've been very helpful. This is a problem. We aren't getting in here, and it looks as if the chief won't be back anytime soon. 5 hours isn't few in my book, I know, right? And this is pure conjecture, but even when the chief does return, he may not show us the records without a solid connection between Bard's death and the Spectre. We'd probably be better off going all the way to Scotland Yard and looking there ourselves. Come to think of it, why not? I'll go back to London and search for the files in their archives. Emmy, I doubt Scotland Yard will just grant you access to their files either. I don't think you quite know who you're dealing with, Professor. I've got connections. Besides, I can't handle waiting around for 10 hours. Sorry, my stream just flickered. Like, that was not like a bit or anything. My stream just flickered. Sabine knows. Yes, I'll be back when I have the files. That's what an assistant is for, right? Well, if you're sure. I would be grateful, Emmy. In that case, Luke and I shall continue our investigation here. If you don't mind, could you drop by the university to pick up the recent newspapers and my research file? It's the one with the latest date on it. It shouldn't be too hard to find. Research file and newspapers. Will do. Emmy, wait, we need to arrange a place to meet you when we return. Oh, right, good idea. That's why you're the professor. Did you have somewhere in mind? Let's meet at the library. We can peruse the documents at our leisure there. The library got it. I'll be back in a flash. You'll never even know I was gone, Professor. Wow, look at her go. Bet she'll be back in no time at all. I hope she drives safely. Oh, okay. Wait, are we playing solely as Emmy? I didn't know. I forgot about this. Also, hi, Mimi. Hello. Hi. How are you, friend? If you're chatting, how are you, friend? I hope you're doing well. Okay. I made pretty good time. Now to grab the research file the professor wanted. Mimi, did you change your name colour? It looks like your name's a different colour. And I don't know if I'm just going crazy. You did. Ooh, I thought so. I thought so. You did. Sorry, typically, my mother is going on Facebook. Not 100% sure of it. That's okay. We can try for a bit. I say we. Like I'm involved. You can try for a bit. I missed you all so much. I missed you too, even though we hung out yesterday. But yes, I hope you're doing well. Did you say you were doing something today? I don't think so. Never enough time. Truly, though. Truly. Aww. But yeah, Sabine said vroom vroom, yes, bish. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, Mimi, I've got new nails. Hee. I did these. I think I said, yeah, I did them on stream last night. Sorry, in your stream last night. Yes, so pretty, thanks. I need to take proper photos and post them somewhere. They are purple. Yeah, they are purple. They're quite I think I said at the start of stream, I feel like they're quite a classy purple. And I like bright, colourful purples. But yes, they are nice, and I'm still glad I bought it. Very classy, very demure. Yes, we're matching. Ooh, yay. I love the classy purple. Yeah. I like... Yeah. I feel like I've not... Sorry, we're just chatting again. I feel like I've not found the exact colour that I want. Still, ever. But, like... Yeah. Got it mixed with lilac and you love it. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Although this one, it dried pretty fast. Anyone that paints their nails, you know, like, ones that dry fast. Ooh, that's good. But yes, yours sound lovely as well, Sabine. And Mimi, paint yours. Yes. Absolutely. That's big, yeah. Yeah, no, that is big. And I didn't really... Not to brag, I didn't really fuck any of them up. You know, like, you always smudge one. Yeah, ruin them with your impatience. I feel like I'm quite patient, but there's always something that goes wrong, isn't there? There's always something. But not really this time. I'm pretty happy with these. Yay. Oh, I haven't had painted nails for, like... about 2 weeks, and a couple of regular customers have been like, oh, no nails to like been sad that I don't have painted nails on, which is like, oh that's cute, that's so cute. Really, yeah. The burial no one, you know, the really little lady that gets scratch cards, and she's got a really unique voice and unique forehead. You know the lady I mean? Yeah, she said something about it. Like, oh, that I always usually have such nice nails and that I didn't. I didn't today. Right. Do you know who I mean, though? Do you know who I mean? But, like, for those of you that have not seen her, like, no, it's an accurate way to convey who this person is. Like, don't come for me. It's an apt description. In the IRL, if anyone said that. Well, yeah, but like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like, I don't want to have people describe me. No, Mimi. No, not five head. It's like, it's whatever. Right, whatever you're thinking, it's not what it is. It's not what it is. Her forehead has unique features. But yeah, no. Sorry. Not to derail the stream with that comment, but yeah, she said something about like, oh, I always have such nice nails. What does this mean? I don't want to drag a sweet old lady based on her forehead on stream. But like, I truly cannot think of any person or any image that I can refer you to better grasp what I'm describing. It is truly the way to describe her. She does. She is nice. She gets scratch cards and then dumps the scratch cards. She does litter, which I know really hacks off some of my colleagues, but she is quite nice. Now you know. You didn't know from Unique Forehead? Like, I've even Googled what I sort of mean, and none of the images are remotely close to what I'm trying to describe. But yeah, no, they're not very observant. You don't need to be. Are we definitely talking about the same person? Like the little old lady that's like, "Hiya, babe, can I have 3 number 17s? Thank you, honey." You know that one? You know the one I mean? Confusion, You'd be surprised. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. To be fair, I think she's the only person... Oh, I was going to say a mad statement. I think she's the only woman in the world that calls me babe. But you know, and she's like over 70. But yes, she sounds lovely forehead and all. Can't think of what her forehead looks like. I don't know how I can recreate it just for you. Hang on. Just for you, Barry. Oh, shit. I'm drawing it on Snapchat. There you go, I'm an artiste, Barry. There you go. That could change. I'm actually surprised that you don't. Am I just a horrible person? But like, no. I would say it's like as I would say it's more prominent than golf ball. Sorry, I'm communicating to Barry right now, but it's more. To me, anyway. Look, she hasn't got a nickname. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, we've been so derailed. My goodness me. Probably me thinking busy. Okay, fair. That's fair. See, I don't want to be like, next time you see her, get a look at her forehead. But like, yeah, I feel like I noticed it on interaction 1 that I had with this woman about 3 years ago, and have always remembered who she is. You're always like, yeah. I'm sorry now if you serve her in the near future and you're like, oh. But if you do, let me know. Okay, video game, friends, video game. Where would the professor keep his files? So, Emmy has not been to the university at all. Dean Delmona. Yippee. Yeah, no, don't tell her that the lovely young lad with painted nails said she's got a unique forehead. Don't tell her that, please, and thank you. Ah, Miss Emmy Altava, I've been looking for you. Took a scratch card letter, not a distinguished board, me to realise who you meant. Dean Delmona! The gasp. I was worried that something happened to you. Wait, do they know each other? Oh no, actually, Professor Layton was already in the middle of an investigation when I found him. He looked like a banana. Does he? I mean, not to like make this a theme of the stream, but his forehead's pretty unique. What's going on there? Why has he got a horn? Anyway. Dean Delmona hired her, okay. That's very unique. Forehead stream. Shall I just stream like this? Hello. Actually, wait, I can do the Russell T Davies, can't I? I can do that. Hello, chat. Hi. I probably sound so weird because I'm away from the microphone, but like, I also can't really see myself. But hi, welcome to my stream. What do you think? Like it. I'm going to move OBS so that I can see what I look like. There we go, that's a bit better, isn't it? Which way do I go? That way? Yeah. Hi chat. Okay. You've suffered enough. Oh no! I've broken it. I grabbed the wrong window. Is it back to normal? Yeah, it's good. Okay, it's fine. It's fine, it's unbroken. Ew, he broke the stream. You have a unique forehead. Hey, fuck you. Professor Layton was already in the middle of an investigation when I found him. Also, yes, Sabine, I saw what you said, that Dean hired her. Okay, cool. We're going to rate every forehead from now on. Okay. So I accompanied him out of town. In fact, I'm only back now to get some documents for him. I see. Splendid. Layton is not in London at the moment, then? No, I'm sorry we had to leave without informing you. No, that's quite alright. He was supposed to be taking some time off anyway. I expect he'll produce an excellent paper when he gets back too. If you're after Layton's office, it's halfway down the corridor. Check the names on the doors. Thank you, sir. I feel like you go here in Catriel's game. By the way, Emmy, if you're not in too much of a rush, could I borrow you for a moment? Of course, how can I help? I think you do. You definitely go to the university, and I think it looks like that. It's cute, yeah. Well, you see, there's this puzzle I'm having trouble with. My little granddaughter challenged me to solve it, but I'm at my wit's end. I can't give up, though. What would the little one think of me? Don't worry, Dean. I'll help you crack it. Tricky tomes. Oh, Dean Delmona. It's only 20 Picarots. Challenges how to wear his hats. He could just wear, like, Royal Guard, you know, the big thing. You can just wear one of those, he'll be fine. Here's a bookshelf crammed with thick, heavy encyclopedias arranged as shown. All the books have the same depth and they fit perfectly into the shelf. There's always one book that nobody takes from the shelf first, no matter who's browsing the shelf. Which book is it? Touch to give your answer. Surely you can't get book 8 out. Like, top up at the top of his head sticks out. Oh no. Oh no. You'd love this one, by the way. Okay. Here's my thinking, right? Number 1, you can just, like, claw in and get it. Number 2, you can just pull out from the top, like that action. 3, you can fully just pinch and grab. 4, again from the top. 5, again from the top. 6, the top. 7, get from the side. 8, you're done for. Surely you can't get that one out first.
I think I've got this one.
Yippee!
That puzzle was no problem.
Dang, that was quick, thanks. Unless you fingernail it. I'm not saying what I want to say. Encyclopedia Ace, that was a bit rough. That was a bit of a rough pun, to be honest, game. Trying to make new emotes, but I have no ideas for what to make. Oh, that's okay. I mean, I have no idea what emotes. Like, the emotes that I like, the Snow Bear emotes are like the most standard emotes. You know, a lurk, eating, like, head empty one, cheering, hearts, crying, cozy. Like, they're quite standard ones. The others have just all happened, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Look at other emotes for inspo. What vibes do I like? Yeah, what vibes do you like? Mimi? Is that new? Is that new? Or has that always been there? Am I crazy? Kinda, okay. So I had it, but I didn't have another animated slot till now. Ah, okay, cool. Gotcha. So I added it back in. Nice. So it's new but not understood. Aha! I see you're going to prove a worthy assistant to Leighton. Thank you for that, Sabine. I got this random one as gifted. Love that. Love that. Should we make a Snow Bear Dumpy emote? Oh no, you go for it. I'm trying to think about what emojis I'd usually use and see if you could translate them to emotes. That's fair. Like actual emojis. Ah, I see. Is Twitch still weird about the Dumpy? Was Twitch weird about the Dumpy? Yeah, oh, that's shit of them. Twitch be allowing everything that goes on in pools, hot tubs and beaches, but a little animated one. Oh, no. No. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. Twitch is perpetually weird. And there's nothing we can do about that, but you know. Leave it to me, sir. Professor Layton is in good hands. Alright then, carry on. Anything with a booty got yeeted. I'm safe then. Haha. Smile through the pain. Wonder what they'll do with these trees when they're taller. Oh, you only get bits of dialogue once because it's only Emmy here. Oh, okay. Like, everyone's got a dumpy. Yeah. Simply, I'm sorry, okay. As the professor's assistant, I'll have to check this board daily. This spot between the stairs does nothing but gather dust. You could put something there. You know those, like, tweets? What should I put in this space? You should put something in there. Yay. Looks as if the first floor is mostly people's offices. Oh, you're here. The professor left yesterday in a rush. I haven't seen him since. I know that. Who are you? And why are you in the professor's office? Emmy, be nice to Rosa. I could ask you the same thing. I'm on the cleaning staff here. My name's Rosa. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the professor's new assistant, Emmy Altava. Pleasure to meet you, Rosa. Likewise. So you're the professor's assistant? Wonder if that's why Dean Delmona was looking for him. The professor asked me to fetch some research of his. Ha! Be a miracle if you can find it. Keeping his office tidy is the one puzzle he can't work out. What is it you're looking for? I'll see if I can lend a hand. Well, he asked me to pick up his latest research file and any recent newspapers laying around. Research file and newspapers. Alright, we'll have a look. Wow, there's no hint coin or dialogue in that app. Sad times. Looks like a very nice, comfy old sofa. Very apt for the professor. Exactly what an archaeologist's office should be like. Oh. On the chair? That was on the chair. She is truly just like... No, I was seeing if I could, like, click her. Oh, I can! If you click on the mop, when it's moving, you do get, sucked into her dialogue. That's interesting. So this is the professor's desk. That's a lot of stuff. And what's this? A puzzle? It's in the bag. 45 picarots. Oh, you stop it. What? Oh, of course he does. Of course he does. I'm imagining it's like a trap. Like you go near the desk and it's just like wham. Okay, to appease dear Rosa, I applied myself to a spot of spring cleaning today. Must say it proved rather fortuitous. In a dusty corner of the room, I discovered an old bag containing a forgotten treasure. See if you can work out what I found by rearranging the 3 pieces making up the shape of the bag. Be sure to place the finished article on the table next to where the bag was. What? I haven't grasped that at all. Discovered an old bag containing a forgotten treasure. See if you can work out what I found by rearranging the 3 pieces, making up the shape of the bag. Squeak! Thank you for the squeak. Right, that's not done anything. I thought that might magically, you know, create something. Okay, so these 2 pieces are the exact same. Which is kind of handy, to be fair. It's like a ring. How so, bestie? When I had it like that? Oh my god, is it the hat? Is it a Leighton hat? How can I construct the end of the hat? I don't, like, you know what I mean? I see what looks like it could be a hat. But I don't know how to finish it. No, it can't be that. That's no, nuh-uh. That does nothing. Absolutely nothing for me. No. I don't know how it would, but somehow doing it sideways wouldn't help, would it? Yes, you should be. Absolutely yes. Okay, it's a complete square, so doing it sideways makes no difference at all. For fun, let's swap them over. Oh, I see it, though. I see the vision. And also it helps in a way that there's no submit button. Because I know this doesn't, like, count. But that doesn't help me either. Everything didn't, but you'll be lucky. No worries, bestie. No worries. Oh my god, I'm so stupid.
What do you think about this?
Because Leighton puzzles are always negative space. That's always like, ooh, you were fooled. It was in negative space. No. I'm the fool. Okay. Correct. Professor Layton simply wouldn't look like himself without his top hat. Does the professor just keep puzzles handy in case he has unexpected guests? I suppose I can't be surprised by things like this, especially if I'm going to be his assistant. Ha, no sneakily placed alluring puzzle will faze me now. Oh, it wasn't that. The drawers are all full of papers and strange objects too. Research file newspapers, right? Oscar the place. Yeah, no, I know. I feel like I've clicked everywhere. Why won't this drawer close properly? Is there something lodged in there? Hat trick. Huh? Deja vu. Okay, there was an elegant top hat inside that old bag. It's a little large to keep around though, if only it was smaller. Can you rearrange the pieces to make a smaller hat? Now this time it's negative space. I was solving puzzle number 2 before I solved puzzle number 1. Oh, come on. Yep. Oh. Easy.
I'll handle this one, Professor. You can't let a puzzle intimidate you.
I don't know if you can then. That was very strange. Congrats, it looks smaller now, doesn't it? You know, if one leads into the other one or something. Who would have thought a puzzle would be buried in a gap between 2 drawers? Still, this is Professor Layton's office after all. The whole room is full of wonderful discoveries waiting to be made. Much like a dig site, really. Really? Oh, you found them? Oh. Right, okay. I honestly don't know how he can work in such a pigsty. Thanks for your help, Rosa. I'd better get these back to the professor. So you make sure he looks after them, won't you? Looks after himself, won't you? Sorry. Well, if it isn't Emmy, did you find what you're looking for? Yeah, got it all right here. Excellent, excellent. Say, Dean Delmona, you seem a little different from earlier. He's got no hair. Why? What do you mean? Oh, nothing, I suppose. I must have imagined it. Dean Delmona's head seems a little shinier than I remember. He's got a unique forehead. That's what's happened here. What? Do I have something in my hair? No, there's nothing there. In your hair, I mean. There's nothing in your hair. Sus. I got the professor's things, so now it's off to Scotland Yard to find those records. With Inspector Grosky's help, Grosky, I should be able to get access to what I need, I think. I hope Grosky's there, though. We got snatched, truly. Scooter, don't fail me now. Okay, it's Grosky time. All set, I should get going. Vroom vroom. I hope he fucking busts in like the Kool-Aid Man or something. Here we are, Scotland Yard. Now to find the inspector for the records I need. A new episode has been added to the trunk, Emmy's memory. Now you do go to Scotland Yard in Catriel, and I'm sure it looks like that. Again, I'm sure it's the same. Episodes. Oh, I've missed a few. Sad times. Watch. Has it really been 6 years? The professor has forgotten, but coming here brings it all back. Oh, have I done this too soon?
But I didn't do anything.
You and the rest of the pickpocket scum in this city are finished. He says it was you. Are you calling him a liar?
No, of course not. Ugh.
She stole the wallet that was in my pocket.
Liar! This is ridiculous! I'm telling you, this child is confusing me with someone else.
Oh, that O1. Is that right, son? You just confused?
She did it.
Shut it!
Huh? Might I be of help?
So much hair. This is Grosky for everybody. This is Grosky. So much hair, so much chest hair. Like, wowie zowie. Ah, Leighton. Good timing. Look, that vile miscreant swiped this poor boy's wallet. So chest, truly. Is that so? Constable, would you mind giving me the details of the case? Eh? Well, I don't see why not. He has a unique chest, he does. While strolling down the street, this young man noticed his wallet was missing. He immediately got a bad feeling about the girl he just passed and told a nearby police officer. The officer checked the contents of her bag and sure enough, there was the stolen wallet. See, pretty clear cut, isn't it? I think I have a good grasp of the situation. May I see the stolen wallet? Aha, I see. I'd just like to confirm something. This wallet is not yours, is it, young man? Huh? If I were to guess, I would say this is your mother's purse. It's definitely a lady's style. Most likely you were sent on an errand by your mother and entrusted with her purse. However, you spotted a pair of expensive trainers you had your eye on for some time, and thereupon you bought them with the money in your mother's purse. You then had to find a way to make it seem as though the money had been stolen. Am I correct? No, that's not what happened. In order to place the blame on someone else, you planted the empty purse in this young lady's bag. I know, truly. Like, Leighton, you were not there, bro. Isn't that right? But Leighton, where's your proof? I'll explain in a moment. Come now. No more fibs, please. You'll have to start behaving like a gentleman one day, you know. Just trust me, bro. His source, just trust me, bro. I'll tell you, just trust me. Tell you later. But everyone else has them. It's not fair. Giving frigate bird. I don't know what that is. I just wanted them so much. Whoa! Whoa there! That's just wrong, that is. Oh. Sorry, music was still playing. So it looks like that. Oh. Chat. What is that? That's a chat box. That can just go away, can't it? Yeah. So it's meant to look like that tiny little thing, and then it just goes whomp. Excuse me. What have I done? What's happened? Go over there. Can I just test something? I think I've got an old chat box on my screen. Yeah, it's an old chat box. Oh, go away. Oh, do you remember that one, besties? Oh, do you remember that chat box? What an era. Let's just, you know what? Let's just hide it. Let's hide it at the bottom. It can be there forever in our hearts. Hidden away. How can I completely hide it? Hide a mixer. That didn't work. I think it worked. Okay, cool. The emotional support chat box, truly. Yeah, I do see. I see the body proportions. Yes, yes. The emotional support chat box. Memories of that chat box, hey? Cute. Cute. Right, but to get them by telling lies and tricking everyone, will you ever be able to wear the shoes with pride? Judging by the look of those trainers, you play football, isn't that right? You should know that shoes don't make good football players, only diligent training does. Is Leighton saying skill issue? Yes, you're right, I'm sorry. Alright, come with me. I will help you return the shoes. Really? Of course. Hold on a second there, Leighton. How do you know the boy was lying? It's quite simple, Constable. I noticed his legs were shaking. It's almost as though he was the one who'd been caught in the act. You are the problem, truly. Furthermore, his shoes were brand new and the wallet contained only a few pennies. It certainly wasn't enough to run any errands with. Once I put all that together, I came to the only conclusion possible.
I hope to never see you here again. Maybe you could take up etymology.
Wait! Thank you so much.
No need to thank me, miss. Helping a young lady like you is the duty of every gentleman. Have a lovely day.
He called me a lady. Wait! Come back here. What's your name?
That, miss, is Herschel Leighton. Don't let the hack fool you. That is a man of powerful intellect. He helps us out from time to time with our tougher cases. You know, pickpockets and whatnot.
Yeah, tough ones.
Herschel Leighton. I'll remember that.
Yeah, I bet you will. I'm just so distracted by his chest. Like, good or bad, Berry? Good distracted or bad distracted? Right, now I've finally become the professor's assistant. I have to do my best to help him. I don't even know. That's fair. I do love Chelmy. Chelmy's still my favourite Leighton police guy. I just want to remind you, Barry, that the next two Professor Layton games of this trilogy, of this collection of characters, are on the 3DS. I've seen that man's chest in 3D. You won't, because you're safe on Twitch. But I've seen 3D Grosky. That was a real test of the 3DS system limits. Just leave it to me, Professor. I'll get you the documents you need. The three-dimensional chess goals tell me about it. There's more layers to that. Oh my god. Okay, that sort of introduced Grosky a bit prematurely, but oh well. It's like a pop-up book, truly. Truly. What I muted that? What a jam. another dumpy emote. No, just a dance. Okay. But hi, Pa. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for subscribing. And oh no, they raised the sub prices. That sucks. The obligatory speech of no one is ever feels they should subscribe. Oh, it is a dumpy emote. Oh, I love that. Okay. Yeah, no, nobody ever feel any pressure to subscribe. What the fuck? Okay. I wish I was as cool as Gordon. Truly, we all wish that. We all want to be as cool as Gordon. Yeah. But yes, I hope you're doing well, Port. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Ooh, to think it's been standing there for over a century. Hope everyone's doing well today. I'm doing good, I'm doing good. Any more? Yay, okay. I feel like I'm quite rich in this game. Yeah, 95 hint coins. Look at me go. Doing alright, good, good. Whoa, his chin is... Now he looks like a banana. Like, wow. Stonks, truly stonks. Excuse me, Constable, I'm looking for Inspector Grosky. Some would even say unique, yes. And his nose as well. Wait. Please hold. His nose literally goes upwards. At the end. Not even like, you know, softens the little curve bit. It goes boing. His whole face is unique. What does my nose look like? Sorry, I'm just looking at my own side profile. Huh, yeah, that's a nose, I guess. Cool. I don't know, I turned to the side and I feel like it didn't look like I thought it was going to look. But that's okay. Cool. His handle, he doubles as a button. Oh, wow. Truly. Okay. Excuse me, Inspector. Constable, I'm looking for Inspector Grosky. Good day, Miss. Inspector Grosky, is it? He's out, I'm afraid. I can take a message if you like. He's got quite a sweet smile, hasn't he? Nice. Oh, he's out. Bother. I'm kind of in a hurry and I need to see some files in the archives. I'm sorry, miss, but I can't help you there. I'm just a constable, you see. You'd need the inspector. What kind of files are you looking for, anyway? He's a phone. That explains the shape. Huh. Bro is friend-shaped, truly. What kind of files are you looking for, anyway? I need the archived reports from a town named Mistallery. Mistallery? Isn't that out in the middle of nowhere? The chief constable is a character, I hear. Honestly, we're not very organised when it comes to keeping track of cases outside our jurisdiction. So if you're in a hurry, I'd advise you to talk directly to the inspector and get his help. Alright, well, can you at least tell me where Inspector Grosky is? I don't know, I'm afraid. You could try asking around a bit. Try the General Inquiries desk upstairs on the first floor. Not him holding the chin and his hand being on his chest. Truly, he's holding his chin and his hand's like down here. Like, what? Wonder how he buttons up his shirt or ties his tie. He truly must be like... What are those birds with the massive, like, pelicans? He must have to, like, move his head up so he can, like, get in there. Right, first floor. Ooh, purple hair. Hello. Oh no, is that Monica? Emmy? Emmy Altava? It's been a while since I've seen you here. Not long enough, though. What are you doing wandering around Scotland Yard? Are you lost? Second bird reference of the day I love. Are you Steve? Do you have a bird thing? How does he get the head through a shirt? He must only wear button-up shirts. He must only wear button-up ones. No t-shirts allowed. No, no. Kind of, but not to Steve's level. Okay. Actually, no, Sabine, I've got a better answer. Do you reckon he just puts... Ugh. Do you reckon it's easier for him to just step into his shirts? Like it's easier to get his whole body through than get his chin through. Maybe a step or two down from that. Okay. Okay, noted. I just watch a lot of bird documentaries. Okay, okay. Actually, I'm in the middle of a rather important investigation. Oh, really? An important investigation? Ugh. Oh, really? An important investigation? Here, at the station? Huh. You came to ask Inspector Grosky for help because you're in over your head, didn't you? Who are you? Why are you shaped the way you're shaped? You look weird. You're doing a whole lot of body shaming here today. With fictional latent characters, it's fine. Straight out of Minecraft. Not so friend-shaped. Not so friend-shaped, no. Yeah, Monica, that's what you... Wait, do you know where Inspector Grosky is? Search me. He's been working on that case in central London for weeks now, though. Thanks, Monica. You've been a big help. Bye. Ah, do I have please pester me written on my forehead? Mood. Mood. I am Monica, she is me. Real, I know. Keep that there. Yes, you're behind reception. True, to be fair, it is actually just your job though, isn't it? Right, apparently the inspector is over here. Okay. Let's talk to Big Chin again. Yeah. I'm not Monica. No, I could never hate Emmy. Emmy could insert anything here and I'd say thank you. If Grosky is in central London, I should head to the city centre. Alright, first step of any investigation is to gather information. Let's ask around. I don't want to talk to him. Thank you for that emote, Sabine. Thank you. Excuse me, but did you happen to see a muscular sort of man around here? Muscular? Well, a somewhat dishevelled pair came storming through not long ago. Great, where did they go? Hey, not so fast. What's the rush, young lady? You won't stop and admire my flowers? No, Cornelius, I won't. I won't do that. Wait, sorry to derail the stream. Did you see Twinklytool's tweet? I think it was yesterday. About a YouTube commenter. Oh my god, it was so good. I'm literally going to pull up her tweet right now. It sent me. It was so good. Sorry. Don't perceive that I just clicked the ending screen. Latest comment, clearing out the thing. Ivan comes through. It's lagging. Twinklytor. I know, Ivan. I love her. I love that so much. Just like, thanks, Ivan. Thank you. Sorry, I just had to share that with you all because it sent me. It was so good. I love dry humour. I was tempted to go to the VOD and find a comment and leave another comment, but I thought, no, I won't do that. But like, I know, Ivan. Oh, it's so good. What? Okay, well, I suppose. If you don't slow down a bit, you're going to get hurt. Why not take it easy for a while? It's so good. Here, let's try solving this puzzle. Let the mystery infuse your senses. Okay, Cornelius. Fortune flowers. A young man tells his local florist about 3 games he intends to play by picking petals off flowers one at a time. He'll start with She Loves Me Not, move on to Happy, Unhappy, So-So. With the final flower, he'll choose whether to buy his sweetheart a bouquet, a cake, a ring, or a book. The florist picks out the bouquet that he thinks will give the best answer on the last petal of each flower. Which bunch does the young man walk away with? Right. Okay. So. She loves me. Actually, no. She loves me. I'm an artiste. Did you all not know this? She loves me not. So, she loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. Loves me not. Loves me. Loves me not. Loves me. Okay. So it has to be, because the good ending is she loves me, of course. So it cannot be ending in an odd number. An even number. This is just algebra, yeah. It's algebra, but I'm doing it... visually. Happy. Unhappy. So-so. Happy. Unhappy. So-so. Happy. Unhappy. So-so. Happy. Seven. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So it's either B or D. Algebra is nothing like algebra at all. You're not trying super hard, but every time you read out one of the riddles, it makes no sense, or maybe I'm not smarter than a 5th grader. It depends on the puzzle for me, because some of them I really have to read a couple of times, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm in, I understand. Right. Then for the final one, he'll choose whether to buy his sweetheart a bouquet, a cake, a ring, or a book. So what's the good one? Like, I'm just saying here, because, like, of course, yeah, a ring is going to be the biggest one. Oh, no, I get it. The best answer is going to be a bouquet, because he's a florist, isn't he? Right? That's going to be the good one, because he wants to sell flowers. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'd imagine it wants you to guess ring, which would be 7. But then it's going to be like, no, you fool, you're an idiot. And it wants me to pick 13 because he's a florist.
I think I've got this one.
Bang.
I did it, Professor.
Capitalism comes through once again. Correct. The young man took away the flowers with 13 petals each. Results of his games were She Loves Me, Happy, and Bouquet. It seems reasonable that the florist would want the man to buy another bouquet, right? Yeah. Until I said it out loud about the ring, because I was gonna say, well, how do you know? Maybe they haven't known each other that long. I don't know. And then I went, oh, that's how you know it's a bouquet. I'm going to ask a stupid question, though. Let's say, okay, right, 2 sunflowers, because they're in the picture up above. 2 sunflowers have grown next to each other, and they're from, like, the same parent plants. Will they have the same number of seeds, of petals? Is that a thing? I've never, ever given that thought. Do flowers that come from... If flowers have brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? If they come from the same genetic thing, do they have the same number of petals? Surely not, because I think I would have heard of that before. I think I would have heard of that. But, interesting. Brain, thank you, Barry. I think it depends on the flower, okay. Train course. Whoop whoop. I'm blasting through these puzzles one after another. Well, I am the professor's assistant after all. The men you asked about are headed towards the other side of the street towards the museum. But make sure you keep your mind calm and gentle. Stay dandy as a dandelion. 89 petals, wow, that is a lot. Yes, thank you, I'll try. I'm on my way, Inspector. Suppose there's no hope for her. Okay, Cornelius. Train break. As a florist, it's also my job to train budding gardeners. And I get called out north, south, east and west to pass on my horticultural expertise. Do you think you could help me find a way to my goals that stems from these 2 train lines? Wait, so can I go there? I can. That's really silly what I've just done. What? I don't know what I've just done there, to be honest with you. Choo-choo. Oh no! I really don't think that can be the solution, what I've just drawn up here. Because that would seem too easy. Stay in your lane, flower man. Right, I think... What about that? Something weird like that. Getting a few different answers because dandelion's a tricky one. Yeah. Ah. And the other one's about to hit the car as well. So that can't be it. Dandelions are made of tons of tiny flowers with a petal each. Oh! Did not know that. Oof, okay. The Panther crash, I know. No, it can't. I can't do that. Something weird like that. Basically, I should be big braining it more than I am braining it. No, we're gonna crash there. How about that? Bit radical, but let's try that. It's truly the drive. It's all on the driver. No, it's still gonna crash. This is very well constructed to just make me crash. Oh, come on. Stop it now. I can't get through there. Ah, I see, okay. No, I don't think this route works, does it? I don't think that's going to work either, but let's try it. No, no chance. No chance. Ah, so close. Have I got more fuel? I do. Try that. But then watch the way back not work or something, and I'm just going to be really sad. Yippee! Did it! Yay! Okay. Let's go, thanks. Oh, I know her. I know her. I remember. Oh, Inspector, you're looking particularly on form today. Such impressive muscles. Oh. Did Inspector Krosky pass by here? He most certainly did. I got to see him in glorious action tracking down a criminal. The train remained on the street, but that's fine. It's fine, right? Not the hard times. Which way did he go? He chased the crook that way, and now I'm going to chase him. I don't want it to be too obvious. Maybe I should just jog by casually. You're a friend of Inspector Grosky, I take it. You are speaking to the founder, president, and sole member of the Clamp Grosky fan club. We need more members. At least one for each of Clamp's abs. Hey, you seem to be interested in Inspector Grosky. Perhaps you'd like to join. Oh, no, I'm fine, thanks. The term simp was invented from her, truly. What is that? That's a weird space, isn't it? Weird. Oh. Hang on a sec. What's going on with this route map? Route map madness. A route map is posted at a bus stop. The route of each bus can be worked out by following the lines, the grid, according to the rules. Buses always move towards the destination and never turn back in the direction they came from. Whenever a bus has the option to turn, it does. Unfortunately, someone has rubbed out 2 vertical lines from the map, so some bus routes are now wrong. Can you add the 2 lines back in to correct the map? Okay, let's see where we're going first. Oh, okay, so A is already good. B is not good. C is not good. D is already good. And E is not good. Okay. I love these puzzles. I do as well. I remember playing the Mario minigame on the DS that had puzzles like this. Oh yeah, yes. Right, this is my cunning plan. I know the ones where like Mario's going towards piranha plants. Yeah. Okay, so what would make B go the correct way? Hi back, hello. The Mario Bros. DS minigames were so good. They were so good. So good. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. If one went there, that means that B would go like that, and then maybe another one there. I ate too much. Ooh, what did you have? What did you have, though? Because, like, of the right thing, that's okay. So then what have we got? We've got E would then go... No, that's just the wrong colour. E would then go to the correct place. D already does. C would as well. I think I've got it. That one and that one.
What do you think about this?
Hey!
You can't
Now,
let
it's an
puzzle
online
intimidate
version of the
you.
Mario vs. Luigi side game from the DS. You have to play it if you want. Mario vs. Luigi side game. What? Which game? Mario vs. Luigi. The... Oh, I just thought you said now, just like opening a sentence. Now. Wait, wait. The one from Mario Bros. DS where you just like run through stages and throw fireballs at each other. Oh, that was my shit. Oh my god. Yes, I would play that, absolutely. Oh, I did find the other one, thank you. Root map madness is in my puzzle index. Nice. Leave no puzzle unsolved. Any self-respecting assistant to Professor Layton should know that. Cornish pasties and fresh coffee. Nice. Right, let's go. Got a little dancey dance on the go. Can't wait to lose 10-2, but we'll have fun. It's so fun. Hi, I'm looking for a burly police officer. Have you seen anyone like that around here? I did, yeah. He was tussling with a big rowdy fellow. They were at it all over the street. Send you the link. Yes, please. Yes. That big bloke was no pushover, though. Let's hope your inspector can handle him. Oh no, I have to hurry and help him. I'll be there soon, Inspector. Hold your horses, I haven't even told you where they went. I'll show you if you'd be so kind as to help me with this puzzle. I've been trying to solve it all morning. Right, okay. Grosky's getting battered, but okay, fine. The forecast is predicting rain. This girl needs help choosing the perfect umbrella so she can weather the storm. She wants one with a blue handle, a red rim and a circle pattern. Which of the 4 umbrellas meets her requirements? Choose from A, B, C or D. She wants one with a blue handle. A red rim and a circle pattern. Oh, it's A. Yeah, no, it's A, isn't it? Yeah. No, it's definitely A. Okay.
I think I've got this one.
Yippee!
That puzzle was no problem.
Yeah! Circle pattern is only visible when you open the umbrella. As a reference for one person in the chat, if you do it laterally, it works. Thank you. Good on you. Now, you want the inspector, you say? See that museum over there? They were fussing and fighting their way to the door, then they went inside. The museum, got it, thank you. It's a museum, no doubt about that, thanks, Emmy. That is a big dinosaur. Ewan, the curator, really loves cats. He might meow at you when you talk to him, but don't let that put you off. Okay. Of course, he still speaks English, but only when he's off duty. Oh, but don't tell him I know. I'll give you the puzzle if you promise not to tell. Huh? Lost in the museum. So who's out here talking like a cat? Okay. Oh no! You've somehow got left behind on a museum tour. Where did everyone go? From a distant room, you can hear the tour guide describing an exhibit. What you're looking at now has come here from further away than any other exhibit in the museum. It's not man-made and it's quite hard to find, but you do occasionally find them dotted here and there on Earth. Any idea which room they are in? This is the weirdest Layton character there is. Interesting. Ooh, you know this one. Ooh. I feel like it has to be... I'm so proud of you, Bailey. I feel like it has to be Spacey One. because of like asteroids and comets like landing on the Earth. There's no weirdness that I can circle like elsewhere, is there? I don't know what that one is. Okay, I'm going to go for that one.
What do you think about this?
Okay.
You can't let a puzzle intimidate you.
Is that what they're getting at? You're a shooting star. They were in the room with the space exhibit. Your tour guide was telling the group about a meteorite, one of the treasures of the museum's collection. Yippee! The dinosaur fossils in our museum were discovered by a professor from Gressenheller University. I think his name was Schrader? Schrader! Oh, Schrader! He had an assistant too. Triton, maybe? I'm not good with names. Schrader, yeah. Archaeology and paleontology sound like fun. Finding old things in the earth and digging them up. Nice. Oh. I wonder if this is a real dinosaur. It's only bones, but I can feel it glaring at me. Wait, what's this? What in the world is that doing there? A puzzle. The description of this prehistoric skeleton reads, by looking at this dinosaur's skeleton, you should be able to identify how many bones it has. A visitor nearby said, I have a feeling the number must be in the hundreds. Can you come up with a more accurate figure? How many bones does this dinosaur have? Exactly. Okay. Once again, I feel dumb. I have a little theory, just a little one, that if I flip this upside down. Oh no, okay. No, I'm silly now. I was going to say that that looks like a 2, but it's backwards. It's mirrored. So it's not that at all. Wait, no, there's something else. There is something there. Oh, do I see it? Do I see it? Do I see it? Do I see it? Where do I grab it there? Does that say 3, 2... It's really squashed up, but does that say 326? I think that says 326. Let me try that. 3, 2, 6.
I think I've got this one.
Yay!
That puzzle was no problem.
Think about all the poor children playing this game that have gone and tried to count all of the vertebrae on that dinosaur. I really thought you were going there the first time. No! No, I didn't even notice them until, like, later, yeah. Bonanza! Not the best one again. The dinosaur skeleton has 326 bones. The ribs give it away if you look at the dinosaur upside down. However, I doubt these bones are part of the real skeleton. Maybe someone's playing a prank. I think I remember that one took you a while, yeah. Really? Who puts a puzzle in a dinosaur exhibit? Letterboxers? I don't quite understand that. Bessie's It's October and you're already debating what colour you want for your 2025 scrapbook. Purple. No, for real. Pick whatever you want, but ooh, that's exciting. I made my beautiful journal layout, and I didn't do one for September. I did July and I did August, and despite my best intentions, I've not done a one for September, and now it's October, and I'm like, oh, I'm sad. I need to do it. I need somebody to do a co-working stream, because apparently that's the only way I can be productive. But you know, 2024 one is pink themed, so pink scrapbook, pink washi tape, pink pens, pink stickers. Ooh, okay, cute. Love that. Love that for you. Do you want to see my October calendar? Because it's a very pretty picture on the calendar. Shall I do a little show and tell? Why not, hey? Am I running over a cable? Oh, I've run over my phone charger. Oh dear. Sorry, show and tell's happening. I can't get it off the wall. Come on. Oh, that doesn't show up real. Ooh, look at that. Pretty. Niagara Falls, pretty. I've always had a calendar, and I don't use the calendar part of it, but I like having pictures of things. Pretty. Probably not still stuck in July because you can't be arsed printing the photos off. That's fair. That's fair. I don't think I take enough photos to do that, to be honest. Like, probably the last photos I took were when I went to the zoo. I'm not going to expose my camera roll, don't worry. I'm always scared to pronounce. I know what it is, but I'm scared. But yeah, you barely wrote a thing in it. Oh, I don't buy it to actually use. Although I should. I just use it for the picture, basically. I can't submit to calendars, but I like seeing the picture. Literally, that's it. Literally, it's like a new piece of art every month, and it's just a calendar. Yeah, no, like, I just take the most random photos of random things. And then, like, there's a zoo dump. Yeah, no, I don't. I've scrolled down to the photo of my hot dog pizza that I took to show Mimi in chat. Yeah, no, I do not take many photos. Oh well. I'm also not making a lot of pictures right now, that's a problem. I love your weekly recaps. I do love them, they're very cute. I genuinely do not think I'd be able to do it because I don't take enough photos. It would just be memes. It would just be like the top memes of the week. Oh, shall I show Sabine a tweet? From a Doctor Who fan account. If it focuses. He's not going to focus. That's the picture anyway. Wow, that's really not going to focus, is it? Oh well. Oh well, but it's captioned Happy 12th Anniversary to the cataclysmic heartbreak and pain that I'm still reeling from to this very day. And it's too real. Because, Sabine, you don't understand the emotional damage that was inflicted on me 12 years ago that I'm still not over. 12 years ago yesterday, apparently. Cataclysmic. Heartbreak was the word they used, and they're not wrong. But don't let that put you off, you know. It's a great show. I can't wait to be emotionally damaged. Get pinned. That's amazing. Get pinned. But truly, though. Truly. The pin, yes, yes. The pin is too real. I'm honoured to be the pinned comment. For a comment like that, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Looks like the contributor is someone called Andrew Schrader. We know him. Wow, he must really like his puzzles. So is that just Andrew Schrader being a silly little goof? Love that for him. Oh dear. Oh. Unique forehead spotted. I burnt your arm baking. Oh no. Thought it wasn't bad, but it's showing a mark and it hurts. Oh no, I'm sorry, friend. I'm sorry. That must real suck. That must really suck. What did you bake? What did you bake though? I would like to know. Excuse me, sir. Did you happen to see a barrel-chested police officer run through here? I'm sure you've been so brave, Mimi. Oh, right. Meow. Okay. Are you talking like a cat? Yes, do you get something for the burn? Is he wrong though, Barry? Barrel-chested man. Okay, fine. I can work with that. I love cats. I don't want to read. I don't want the next sentence to come out of my mouth. Okay, made banana bread with oats, peanut butter, chocolate chips in a muffin tin instead of a loaf. Ooh, that does sound good. That does sound good. Need to read all of the dialogue, do I though? Okay, fine. Hello, Pussy Wussy. Have you seen the big policey we see? I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy with that. I tried to do an ASMR radio voice. I hope you're happy with what just happened. Didn't have to say it like that, but I did though, didn't I? I had to say it like that. He spit out water. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, this line's not bad. You're in pain, I'm sorry. This line's okay, so I can just say this normally. What's that, Kitty? Grosky knocked over all the exhibits, then took off. Now. That's not going to be a sound alert before anybody asks. No. Bad. No. Okay? I don't care if you'll want it as like an entrance line or something. No. Nuh-uh. No. Thanks, Puss. I'll head to Scotland Yard. No, it can't, Mimi. No, it cannot. I need more Redeemed. I don't know what you mean, Barry. I don't know to what you're referring to. If you're talking about a conversation we've had before, I forgot. I don't know. Why? Because I'll combust. No. Nuh-uh. No. We're moving on. Okay, great. Thanks again, Kitty. Combust, you won't. I mean, you got me there, but like, I'll feel like I'm combusting. Has he got any more dialogue? No. Oh, nice. Steal from the museum. Love that. It's all swirly. It wouldn't let you clip. Excellent. Excellent. Oh. Just Pussy Wussy birthday. Oh, Sabine's got. Okay. I will review after stream when I'm not on camera because I will die. Oh, Grosky is fighting another monster of a man. I feel faint. Catch me. No, catch yourself. She's so mean. Sorry if I'm the only one overwhelmed by the wave of manliness that just swept by. Such bravery, wrestling that hardened criminal all the way back to the police station. I see. Well, maybe I can still catch some of the action over at Scotland Yard. Have fun swooning. Oh, Grosky, you've arrested my heart. Take me into your custody. She's in the next 3 games and you're going to get dialogue like that all the time. Just so you know. Once you learn to love flowers, then people like me... I need to engage the brain to read this line. Once you learn to love flowers, then people like me like people like you. Christ. Go away. You're weird. I wish Inspector Grosky would just stay still. I'll never find him at this rate. Wait, what's that noise? Get him, Grosky! Slay! Oh, he's done for. Sit down.
Now, let me know if you've got any other questions.
Nice to meet you,
Grosky!
Inspector
I
Grosky.
say!
I should have known.
Oh yeah, no, this is the man that the late... Whoa, his chest has got bigger since the flashbacks. Yeah, no, this is the lady that... This is the man that lady swoons over. And yes, his chest is, prominent. Built like a penguin. Kind of, yeah, kind of. He has a bigger chest than her. Felt. His chest is chesting, yep. Emmy! I haven't seen you in so long. I was starting to get worried. How have you been? Not bad, Inspector. How are you? Never better. Every crook I catch, I bench press their weight. Keeps me fit. So, what can I do for you? I've come to ask you for your help. Hang on, you can see when the little, when the dialogue box goes away, you can see that he skips leg day. I'm trying to look after the gym. You go for it, Mimi. You go for it. There's something disturbing going on, Miss Dallery. Do you think he bends his ties? Bends his ties. I don't know what you mean, I'm sorry. Miss Dallery, eh? People still live out there. Alright then, give me the whole story. Typical gym bro, truly. Right, is it just me? If I was going to the gym, which I don't do, but if I did, like, I would absolutely rather go on, like, a bike machine. Actually, no, because that's not what leg day necessarily is it? Oh, I see. I think it's just stretched to the limit, Sabine. I don't think it's curved. Wearing a tie halfway down your chest. Yeah. I just walk when I go. I feel like, yeah, no, for me, that's what I would be doing. I'd be doing, like, a bike machine, or at a push a treadmill, or, like, the stairs one. But, like, the arm, like, this nonsense that people... No, I can't hack that. If you go to the gym and you do that, the word nonsense was sort of the wrong word to use, but, like, I can't cope with it. His big bazonka's barely fit in his shirt. I don't know if he has bazonkas or if it's just, like, one big zonk. Just, like, I think with how he runs after people, his legs would be thicker. And if he's got to carry all that round with him, you'd think his legs would be thicker as well. It's thought the attacks may be related to the death of a prominent man there last year. Singular zonk, yes. I was hoping I could get some information on that incident. A bazonk, yes. So how did you get mixed up in this? Weren't you settling down and concentrating on your research? Does not sound like Emmy. Sounds like quite the case, though. If you need me to wrestle anything to the ground, don't be afraid to ask. Wonder what his cup size is, and if he needs a single cup like a Cyclops with one frame glasses. That's what I'm saying. Cyclops with one frame glasses. That's his situation. No, we've gone too far. I'm pulling back from what was about to come out of my mouth. Yeah. Thank you, Inspector. The archives are just down the stairs over there. This is the archives room. If we have it, you'll find it here. Wow, it might take a while to find what I need. Nonsense, I'll get someone to help. Ah, there's Chelmy! Oh, he is in this game. Who's that? I know who that is. Chelmy! I love him. It's weird seeing Grosky that way round, because you're always talking to Grosky. It's not like Grosky's talking. Oh. Does he rest his inner plate on his chest like a table? Truly, he could just like, I don't have a plate to hand, but like, he could just like have it like right under his chin. He could just have it here, like at all times. Like, This is Chelmy and his man, Barton. You make it sound quite cute. There's some sort of juggling act. Yeah, Emmy can meet him because she didn't meet him in the other games. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's real cute. I did not expect to see Barton. Well, Barton, but Chelmy today. Why is there a civilian in Scotland Yard archives? Chelmy, this is Emmy. She's an old friend of mine. She needs our help with a case she's researching. My name's Emmy Altava. Nice to meet you, Inspector. Thank you so much for your help. Oh, before I forget, I need some film developed. Can I do that here? Of course. Do you need a prescription filled in as well? Oi, Barton, help the lady. So you're gonna help her even though you just made a snarky... Okay, fine, whatever. Constable Barton, at your service, miss. Thank you, Barton. It would be great if I could get this film if you could get this film developed for us ASAP. ASAP? That's a type of film? Well, don't worry, miss. I'll be back right away. I hope Barton can handle that on his own. Let's start looking through these records. Chelmy, you start with that shelf over there. Roger. So what is it we're looking for exactly? I can help you, but I'll be an asshole about it. I wish I had that energy in work, but I don't have that energy. The records for Miss Dallery. Thanks for your help, old chum. Those two have inverse posture. Like, I'm gonna regret the next words that come out of my mouth, but like, they could spoon facing each other. Like jigsaw pieces. They could just... Yeah, they could yin yang. There you go. Truly. Truly. His chest is a pillow. Right, am I just clicking places? Now, there's so much going on here that we never hear about. Hey! These case records are sorted by year, you see. Are you looking for something in particular? Yes, this case would be from last year. Last year, that'll be over here. So, we'll need to check this whole section? Even splitting the work, that's a lot. Ah, well, there is a knack to sorting through records. Oh, Chelmy's got a puzzle. Find the file. The police archives have a rather confusing filing system. The file Emmy wants is 2 files away from a file with 3 in its number. It's also 3 files away from a file with 6 in its number and 4 files away from a file with 9 in its number. All the mentioned files are on a single shelf. Right. So what can it not be? 2 files away from a file with 3 in its number. So that one's okay. Sorry, I'm going top left to right. So it's okay, okay. Okay. Not okay. Okay. That one's okay. That one's okay. That one's not okay. Huge. Okay. 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 Not okay. Okay. Also 3 away from one with a 6. So it's... Oh shit, the bed. I think I might be falling off my mouse mat, hang on. Right, so it can't be you. It can be that one, can be that one. Can't be that one. Or that one. Or that one. Yep. Yep. Nope. 70 what? 73. So no. I really shouldn't have scribbled over the numbers, should I? Can be that one. Can't be that one. Can't be that one. Wait. Yeah, okay. 4 away from a file with a 9 in it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it that one? No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it that one? No. Top row is out. That one? Nope. That one? Could well be that one. That one. 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that one, so it's that one. Yippee!
What do you think about this?
Huge.
You can't let a puzzle intimidate you.
Correct. The correct file is number 29. It would be nice if the filing system were a little easier to understand. Hey, isn't this it? Your case file you were looking for? That's it. Excellent work, Chelmy. Ah, I feel energized. Now I'm in the mood for a quick half marathon. I think we ought to focus more on the mental exercise for the time being. I wonder how Barton's doing. Here I am, Inspector. I have the photographs Miss Altava asked for. You mean to say you actually got the photos developed? That's excellent work, Barton. Monica, the receptionist up in General Inquiries, gave me a hand, sir. She's very nice. Well, that's everything, I think. Thank you very much for your help, Inspector. No need to thank me, Emmy. It was nothing. Thank you too, Inspector Chelmy. No problem. But there is something bothering me. Oh, what do you mean? Here, have a look at this report. There are a few things here that look more than a little fishy to me. And they've gathered so little evidence. Look, there's only one eyewitness account. Well spotted, Chelmy. Go with Chelmy's instinct on this, Emmy. He has a nose for this sort of thing. In fact, that settles it. Emmy, I'm going with you. You are? Why? Chelmy, cover for me while I'm gone. Tell the Clamperts whatever you want. Or one of them. Right, you are, Inspector. Okay. Goodbye, Chelmy. I'll miss you. Alright, so when we get back to Miss Allery, on my scooter... Oh. What's the matter? I swear to God, if he's going to be like, "I'll run!" Well, I came here on my scooter, which only seats one. You're one seat in my 2 feet, don't you worry about me. I'll meet you there. I'll barely break a sweat. He's going to leg it, isn't he? You're going to run all the way to Miss Allery? Run? Of course not. I'm going to sprint all the way to Miss Allery. Right. Okay. Alright, Inspector. I suppose I'll see you there. Just don't be surprised if you see me overtaking you. Mr. Twiglegs has sonic logic, truly. For the yard! I forgot he says that. Oh my god. For the yard! Wow, he's pretty fast. Right. I think this is where we're going to leave it for today. This seems like a good place to stop. We've done like a proper chapter. Yippee! Ooh, and we'll come back to that next time. Let me. Oh, I missed it. Right. I've pressed save. You all saw me press save, so I can just close out of this. And that's fine, isn't it? Okay. So, I'm down to still yap for a bit. Of course, as I just always am, basically. Did I save? Don't. I know that I saved because it said I've played for 13 hours and 56 minutes, so shut up. Shush. I saw the numbers move. I definitely saved. You can't gaslight me. I'm immune to your gaslighting. Oh, wait, was there a save? Y'all suck. I know that I saved. Yeah, love you too. Love you too, Sabine. Did you... Blair, go back to lurking. I'm not having this from all of you. This abuse from my viewers. No, okay. Thank you for being here and for lurking, though. I do appreciate that. Oh my god, Sabine, I see the link you sent me. Oh, the propellers. Ooh. Wow. What, is this like just gone up? Is this a new thing? Ah. Amazing. Cool. No worries, Trev. All good, friend. All good. You can still pause. If it plays. You're in bed, that's a perfect time for yapping. Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, on a real level, I've not, like, blocked it from playing. I don't know why it didn't play. Don't think so, but I discovered it recently through a streamer you watch. Well, on the link, the latest date I see is 2022, but all of the comments are from, like, 2 days ago. Where's the bop at? I don't know. The bop is gone. I have alert box here, right? Yeah, I have an alert box on this screen. That's so weird. Huh? Let's see what I've just seen. If there's a couple people here, a certain couple people, who would like to make fun of me. Subby has bestowed you with the September badge. What do you mean a subby badge? How dare you? How dare you, Twitch? What are you trying to say? Okay, yeah, maybe it's got, maybe it's like become popular. But what do you mean I've got a badge for being a sub? How dare you? How actually dare you? The thing is not loading. No, I know what badges are. Okay, if I go into... Well, how do I see it? Chat appearance, there, isn't it? No, not there. I don't know where it is. Like, congrats, you gave us money, yeah. Am I going to have to go into someone else's chat in order to see this? I feel like, I don't know if my internet's having a bit of a mare today. It seems quite slow. We've dropped a few frames over the last 2.5 hours, but you know. Wow, it's really being slow. Fuck me. Customizable badge. Oh, I see. Yeah, I've got a new badge for September 2024. Oh, I see. Okay. There. I've got the, if it shows up for me. Yeah, I've got the 2023 badge. It's over there. You can just see it. I do like that one, but yeah. Yeah, congrats, you gave us money. Fair. Cute. Yeah. Got a Snow Founder badge. I know, so special. I feel like a lot of people in there have, to be honest. Yeah. I do like a good Founder's badge. I don't feel like I've I don't know if I've got anyone's founder badge. Oh no, I've got Mimi's. I've got Mimi's founder badge. We just never leave, truly. Truly, it's just the same face in every street, which I love. I'm stuck with... You're stuck with me. Oh, sorry, does that make a horrible noise? Yeah, I think it does a bit. But yes, no, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. For real, for real. Not horrible header. Okay, I should not do that. I was inserting a pen in between the little strings, which I shouldn't have done that. That was bad. That was not something I should have done. But oh well. We're all locked in here together. There though, we're all locked in here together. I get a temptation. Well, I've got these 3 pens. I can't remember what it was for. Why does I have pens here? Oh, for a video editing project I was working on, which I've completely lost motivation to do. But yeah, no, I've had these 3 pens just on my desk, and I keep holding them every stream, if any of y'all have noticed that. But yeah. And I keep getting paranoid that it makes like a clicky noise, which you can probably hear when I'm talking, but when I stop, when I stop talking, I don't think it picks up. Yeah, okay, but maybe you can hear it when I'm actually talking and the noise gate is active. Interesting. Big jams. We've had 3. Oh, thanks, Mimi. We've had 3 cheap viewers on something bots today. You got me, thanks. Thanks, bestie. Appreciate it. Rude, I know, we don't normally get that many. Weird. Weird. Also saw the subby. What? What? Shush. Shush with your little get in the wrapper bit, okay? No. No. They all got sniped. They all got sniped, though. We're too strong for them. Thanks, Mimi. Thank you for that. Yes, yes. Yo, I want to play Echoes of Wisdom. I want to play that game sometime. Like, I will get it for Christmas, and then I'll play it. But, like, I want to play it now. I want to play it now. What I could do, and I have thought about doing, is after this game, after we finish the Spectre's Call, we could... Well, I'll play a different game to break up all of our Laytons. I could play Link's Awakening on Switch, because I've already played that once, and I could replay it. Because it's like the same sort of style and all that. I could do that, that could be cute, before Echoes of Wisdom. Perhaps, maybe. Or we could play something else. But I still... The thing I want to play the most is the really hard puzzle game, Laurely and the Laser Eyes. I want to play that. I know, yeah, I love the art style as well. It's very cute. Yeah, no, I want to play the really tough puzzle game. But because it's a really tough one, I feel like we should play it after Layton. I feel like it should be like the final boss of our puzzle game era. What should I play, Mimi? What should I play? I don't know. What should I play? I should play Please. I've not heard of a game called Please. That's weird. Oh, don't be sad, Mimi. Don't be sad. I had to take it, okay? I had to Wind Waker, okay. No, but, Mimi, when one day you get a DM off me to say, Mimi, I want to play Wind Waker, you're going to be the happiest person to have ever lived. You're going to be over the moon when I play Wind Waker, aren't you? You're going to be so happy. It's been 84 years. Listen, I know you're 84, but it's not been that long. I'm not that old. Thanks, get wrecked, get roasted. I'm sorry. Oh! Mimi, I have a question for you. As an American, I have a question for you. When you go into a store and you have your, what I would say chocolate bars, I guess do you call them candy bars? Are they stored? Are they on the shelves like that or like that? This is an important question to me. Number 1 or number 2? Vertically? Horizontally? Portrait? Landscape? How are your chocolate bars displayed in stores? Right, okay, TikTok's lied to me then, that's fine. That's fine. I saw a TikTok that was like, British people? Well, it was American, so someone was like, British people have their candy bars like that? TikTok fake news, truly. Who would go onto the internet and lie? Who would do that? Despicable. Myth busted. But thank you for debunking it. Also, Mimi, but everyone in chat, do you want to hear about an American customer that I served the other day? I had an American. They usually come in boxes. Yeah, that's how we get them as well. Good, yeah. So, okay. Picture the scene. I'm in a shop. No, I'm in my shop. I'm stood in roughly the middle of the shop. Right? And these 2 Americans come in. They're at the door. And this is what I hear. As a British person, you know how I talk, right? You know how I talk. These Americans came into the store, and one just said to the other one, "Where are the stamps?" To the other person that was stood right there. Like, where are the stamps? They're right there. Chill out. Calm down. Yeah, there's no need for that, first of all. But anyway, so I'm downstairs. Chill, bro. It's just an American thing. You know, this wasn't addressed to me. This was just like asking the person that was there. No, like, it wasn't rude. It wasn't like a rude thing. It was just like the volume level of it. But anyway, I assume it was like a husband and wife couple. And anyway, then they come over to me and say at a fair volume level. Oh my god. The husband came over to me and he said, "Hi, my name's John. How are you?" We don't do that. I don't care what your name is. But anyway, yeah. So introduced himself. Now I know what his name is. And he asked where the stamps are, and I said, "Well, they're just upstairs at the stamps counter." So he decides to. His wife goes off, and he just sort of hangs there. And then he asked the worst American question I've ever heard in my life. He sort of looks back in my direction and goes, "Do you feel like talking, sir?" I am obligated to say yes. Sure. Let's talk. Let's talk, John, who I now know is from California. And he starts asking, "How do you feel?" It's one of those. He was genuinely nice. But this man said, do you feel like talking? And my soul just left my body. Like, I don't feel like talking to you, John. I don't feel like talking to you. But I did, and it was okay. And he didn't last very long, but you know. It's time to go buy your shit and leave. That's fair. That's fair. No, it wasn't too bad. He asked what my city has going for it, because like my city's famous for quite a few things, and quite a few of those things happened in the past. So he's like, what's the economy like? What's the trade in your city? What does your city do? You know. Right, okay. So I was like, I just work out. I don't know. Yeah, God, please, John. He asked then, like towards the end, he asked, because our store sells newspapers, and he asked, what's your opinion on The Guardian? One of our British newspapers called The Guardian. Is The Guardian, like, is that a good newspaper? Is it like, is it, you know, does it have integrity? Is it like, you know, is it not biased? Like John, I don't know. I don't even know how, I sell it every day. I don't even know how much it is. Just, I don't know, John. I don't know. Oh, ours are not good either. Ours are not good, don't worry. Well, do worry, but like, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Mimi, because like, yeah. Yeah, no, ours is fucked as well, don't worry. But yeah. No, it was grim. Yeah, no, Sabine, if I'd said no, I don't want to talk, I wonder what would have happened. Usually can turn 0.5 seconds. I feel like, yeah, it depends what it is. Oh, sorry. Don't even, because my uncle married an American, so you can imagine what it's like when they come over to visit. The conversation's interesting. Oh, no. Oh, no, does your uncle now have like an entourage of Americans? Like, does he have kids that have grown up in America? Like, What about the price of Freddo when the economy comes up? To be fair, yeah. Yeah, no, I could have hit him with the Freddo law. I think our store sells it. We have at some point, my store has sold Freddos. And it's like, oof. Oof. Yeah. Not in my store, they're not, Blair. In my store, they're fucked. Freddo Law. Okay, Sabine. Sabine and any other international viewers. Thankfully, they don't have kids. Don't think I could deal with a marriage. Okay, so. Whoa, 2 at once. Thank you, Mimi. In local board cafe, they're 25p. In my shop, Blair. Imagine how much they are in my shop. Okay, so. This is a Freddo. Right, it's a little chocolate bar. It's... Please hold. It's these. Not to just spawn in some Freddos, but these are Freddos. Spawn hacking. It's possible that they're out of date. When did they go out of date? Only in July, that's fine, right? Right. So that's a Freddo. For scale, they are quite small. If I was to get another chocolate bar... Can I reach it without standing up? Without moving? Yes, I can. These are my favourite chocolate bars. They're called Twirls. And that's a Freddo. So they're only little things. They're only little Freddos. Now, this depends who you ask on how much they should be. If you ask me, Freddos were 17 pence when I was little. 17 pence. But for many a person, they were like 15p. People remember when they were 10p. I remember 17p. And as you're seeing in these images, like 25p. On this box, it even says 30p. P as in pence, by the way, just to doubly clarify. You remember 10 and 15? Yeah, no, I assume I'm just a little bit younger because I remember 17. You remember being 15p? I used to get scammed then, apparently. Okay. So, yes, anyway. They have gone ridiculously expensive. Because who wants to pay 30p for a Freddo? Yeah, and it's become... I would argue it's become a meme, the price of Freddos, but some people are very passionate about Freddo prices. They look cute. They are cute. They're little frogs. They're a bit scary. One could argue they're a little bit scary, but they're still nice. And they taste good. Oh, it's cheaper than anything else here as well, but when the cheapest thing gets really expensive. Yeah. No, it's rough. They're the perfect amount of scary. Nice. I used to love Freddos, I really did. I don't have them much anymore, but... I mean, as you can see by the fact I've got ones that are out of date. But, you know, it's fine. I mean, better have anyway. Yeah, you always do that. You always start with the head. One candy bar's like 125 here. Yeah. I mean, at this stage, probably works out about the same. Maybe a little bit cheaper. For like a proper sized one, yeah, you can pay £1 for a chocolate bar. Despite the fee of dismemberment. Nice. We love. I hear that American candy bars taste different. Like I hear Europeans say American chocolate is shit. I wonder how much they go at the cinema. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. You hate candy so much, actually. Ooh. Right, if you were to ever come to the UK, please try some, because I actually want to know. I actually want to hear from an American. I have an American mutual, and he always talks about how shit their chocolate is. Yeah, fair. I mean, in the UK, we have American candy stores, but it could be argued that they allegedly are money laundering fronts. But anyway, that's a talk for another day. I think Americans have more bitter taste, yeah. I like bitter, fair. Plus, they always seem to go out of business or get shut down by the police, one or the other. Let's see. I'm on my local cinemas. Thing. Oh my god. $3.39 for one of those little bags of sweets. I have a day off. Yeah, $3.59 for a pack of Dairy Milk buttons. You are off your head. Off your head, Odeon Cinemas. See, because like the thing is, if I went to the cinema, right, I would absolutely get some churros. I love me some churros. But not for $4.49 for 3 churros. Again, you can get in the bin. No. Oh, sure no. I have never... That's a bit of a bold statement. I don't think I've ever had churros in the UK. I don't think I have. I had them in France and they were so good. And I want more of them. Blair, where does churros? Let's go for churros. You can bring off food from outside, yeah. No, I know. You've never had them in general. Okay, Blair, Berry, churros, let's go. Does anyone actually get a pizza from the cinema? I've never seen anyone in the cinema with a pizza. What are you doing? Really? Really? I actually saw a job advert for my cinema today. And I was like, ooh, I could. Restaurants. Never seen a pizza. I've never have either. It just stands in theme parks. In Florida, I was tempted a few times. That's fair, yeah. No, we had them in France. And that's like all we had. Yeah, okay, I know where that is. Cool. But I did not know they did churros. I mean, I've never been in there. But interesting. The only food that belongs in theatres is popcorn. That doesn't stop them trying. They're almost always sold out. Fair. Actually, I know where it does them because I saw them the other day. In a little, one of the little stands on by Claire's. By Claire's, you know, there's those two little stands. Yeah, one of those has sells churros actually. Is it Auntie Anne's? Is that what it's called? Auntie Annie's? Something like that. They do churros. Get in the bin. Coke. Before anyone chimes in, the drink, Coca-Cola, is over £4 at the cinema. Fuck that. Christ. Oh, they're not exactly churros. Oh, okay. For the Christmas market. Ooh, we have a Christmas market in my area as well. Ooh. When a British person orders a Coke. Right, that's what we call it, okay? It's Coca-Cola, it's Coke. We don't call it that ever. Do you call it Coca-Cola? Is that what you call it? I'm curious now. Oh, you say cola, okay. Yeah, Mimi, do you want to come to the UK and do Coke together? We can do that. Let's do Coke. You're a Pepsi person. Ooh, okay. I'm a not fizzy drinks person, so can't really comment. You love Coke Zero, nice. Right, which Coke do you mean, Barry? Do you mean... Right, okay, hang on. Because I've been told all my life, right, Snow would be so interesting drunk or on caffeine or so many things. Like, I've been told that a lot. Yes, go to bed, Blair, go to bed. Have a lovely night, and thank you for hanging all this time. I appreciate it. And yes, sweet dreams. I'm very interesting with that. Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate it. You know what? I need more. I need to refill my drink. Barry, are you going to now make me do alcohol and drugs and coffee? Alcohol's overrated. Genuinely wouldn't know. Wouldn't know. Oh well. Should I do that YouTuber thing? Because, like, popular YouTuber in the UK called Toby had famously never tried alcohol, and so when he did for the first time, or like the first proper time anyway, tried any alcohol. He did it on video with his two mates that do drink alcohol, and bless him, his two mates, the little bastards, got him absolutely battered. They were just like, yeah, no, that's fine. You know, drink all of that. It's a totally normal amount. And they fucking... Woo. Apparently he regretted it. And did not have a good day. You've never done drugs yourself, you can't promise how well it would go. Let's not, Harry. Let's not. On camera, that's rough. I mean, hey, if it does YouTube views, I would try alcohol for the first time on camera. There you go. He definitely didn't have a good day. I do not believe he did. No, I think there was a story like he had to get the train home or something, and he was a mess. Let's not try illegal substances together, and even less so, let's not plan it publicly on the internet. But on a real level, let's not. No. Yes, yes. I just learned something. Sorry. So you see how up at the top here, I've got my little things? It's got a scroll. For another one? Huh? Since when was that a thing? And why not just... I'm not being funny, but there is room. There is room there or there to just display all of them. Like, why? 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 Why have we done this? Why make things easier when you could just not actually, though? That's so weird. Why indeed? Sounds like our workplace, actually, though. Actually, though. Oh yeah, Barry, do you know what got done today? Did the extra stock that I had left over, did that get put out, do you know? Because if not, I think it'll be me tomorrow. If you don't know and you were downstairs, that's fine, don't worry. Not really, okay. So that'll be a me problem tomorrow then. If I wreck my nails on my first shift back, I'll be really sad. Yeah, okay. It's going to be a me problem. Wait, no, Don Paulo's in tomorrow. Don Paulo's in tomorrow, and I'm in for 8 hours. Oh. No, 6 hours. Oh, great, okay. Right. Why am I in for 6 hours if Don Paulo's in? Why? This is sad. Christmas wrap's all out. Is it like are all the tags and stuff out as well? Because I think our security guard was doing that today, wasn't he? Yep. I mean, for retail, it is October, to be fair. I feel like last year it was in September that all went out. Actually, I can find out. Because I believe I took photos. And sent it to my parents, so I'll have an exact date. When Christmas wrap went out. Oh no, okay, it went out last year on the 4th of October. Today it was only the 1st of October, so we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Okay. Noted. Well, can't wait for that then. I helped. Oh, nice. Fun. Fun. AKA ruined my nails peeling half-price stickers because the stock was from last year. Oh, ew. Ew, that's grim. Very grim. Do excuse me. Yeah, no. To be fair, if I'd done that and I'd knackered my nails, I wouldn't be happy either. Big Jam's just come on. Turn it down a bit because it's a bit of a loud one. Yeah, are you in at all for the rest of the week, apart from your usual day, of course? Do you have it off? But they come off easily? No, it depends on the stickers. Because, like, okay, you're awake, I'm sorry. Sorry, it's a bit of a rambunctious one, isn't it? Nothing extra, okay. I had a thought and I've lost it. Yeah, Barry, there's some offer stickers that are on notepads, like they come in pre-stickered on the notepads, and they're awful to get off. I hate them. You're fine with that? Yeah. Be fine with that. You enjoy it. I've got the whole weekend off as well. I'm really excited. It's so weird because there are times where I work like 6 days in a row. Then I have a day off and only work like a couple of days, and then I have another day off. It's weird. Am I in? Yeah, I am in 5 days next week. Okay, yeah, I see. But isn't it? Didn't mind your Saturday 1-5, yeah. Actually, it was quite alright when I did it. When I did yours on this Saturday, it was fine. Oh, yes, she's in. That's fine. I'd never bother to change it really when I'm in. When I'm just yapping at the end. I don't mind. I don't mind leaving it in. But thank you though, of course. I appreciate it. Odyssey vibe, yeah. You're doing something with your nails. Ooh, exciting, exciting. I would like to see them. Once you're done, if you want to share, of course. Of course. Oh, you're not feeling it now, Berry. I mean, totally up to you, of course. Totally up to you. And if you go to the interview, you can still say no at the end, can't you? You can still say no after the interview, if you want. Just a French tip with maybe a cappuccino on top. That's fair. That's so good, though. It's very without publicly broadcasting the information. Kind of realizing a cleaning job might not be good for someone with chronic pain. I mean, because you said to me in person, like yesterday, that like if you didn't do that, you'd still be working in the shop. I suppose a cleaning job is going to have more movement involved than being plopped at the tills. I suppose, yeah, I suppose, I don't know. I suppose it depends what specific things are the worst for you to deal with. Can't tell if being stationary or moving makes it worse. Fair. Fair. Do trial shifts exist? I know some jobs have a trial shift. Could do that. Like for me, it would be the time of the shift. I couldn't hack that, I don't think. You've had the entire reason to hiring because then you got quit after 2 weeks. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm not gonna lie, go on. Oh. Okay. After 2 weeks? Who do you think you are? 2 weeks, calm down. I'm saying that's really okay, fair. Interesting. Oh. You come and do all your sister's jobs for her. Like a 2.5-hour shift in a small pub. Yes, you are. Is that a bad thing? Because it's reading to me like it sounds like it's a bad thing. If you don't split it evenly, you run out of. Okay, fair. Okay, I see. Fair. Oh, you got Celeste itch the other day. I mean, okay, I won't tell anyone. If you ever wanted to play some more of the Celeste, you either play the old levels again or maybe try the scary levels. Please do it. Please go for it. Or if you want to install mods that have more easy levels. Do you mean chapter 8? Because I don't think you did chapter 8, did you? But chapter 9, I have not done. I've not done chapter 9. I need to do it, but I haven't done chapter 9. Chapter 8, okay. Yeah, no, chapter 8 was in the base game, and then chapter 9 was a free DLC that they made like a year later that is like, fuck my life difficult, is the sense I get. Apparently it's really tough. But I don't know, because I've not played it. And I kind of want to. Yeah. Yeah, no, There are other levels I would recommend you do before you do chapter 9, namely the B-sides. I want to play some Celeste right now. I won't because it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning, but I want to play some Celeste. Barry, you're not off the hook here either. You own Celeste. Don't think I've forgotten that. You own Celeste too. Just make all my friends play Celeste one nag at a time. The music's so good. This isn't even from Celeste. This is from Celeste 64. If you remember that one stream that I did, Celeste 64. It's made by the same person, and it's just a I don't know musical terms, but like a remake of it's the same music, but it's different, played like differently on different, not instruments, but like different sounds, but it's the same music. I'm so bad at music. I think not even a remix. I think it is actually the same song, but played in an N64 style. There you go. It takes the music and makes it sound like it was on an N64. That's what it is. Like different, yeah. Yeah. But you're right though, it's the same-ish music. Hmm. Nice. Weird. Yeah, no, I feel like I'm running low on yaps, but that's okay. Yeah. But yes, I appreciate you all for being here. Me yapless. I'm running low on the yap, but that's normal things. Oh, Barry, I have a story for you about. Appreciate me for doing. Thanks. But I'm going soon. Okay.
Go to bed.
I'll go soon. Okay, I'll go soon, but not just yet. Yeah, no. From a story from when my granddad came round. I saw my granddad at the weekend, as I've mentioned to some of you. Not trying to rush me, thanks. Yeah, no, and to give you a very, very brief version of the lore that Barry, I was going to tell you at some point. My granddad lives like down in the south of England, and I live in not the south of England. So, also bearing in mind he's my granddad, he's of a certain age, and he's got his own situation at home that makes it a bit difficult for him to travel all the way to come visit us. Basically, is the situation. So, I haven't seen him in quite a while. Like, I haven't seen him at all this year until, until this weekend. We don't see him often. The point being, lovely to see him. Conversation doesn't always flow super smoothly. This is a bit rambunctious. There we go, Hateno Village, that's nice. Yeah, so, thinking of things to say, I was, I don't know, as a family, so we were saying I go to the cinema a lot, and I'm afraid, Barry, you got absolutely grandparented by my granddad, because we were saying, yeah, I've gone to see all the Spider-Man films, I love all of the, watched all of those, I went to go see the Star Wars films, I was sort of talking partly to my granddad, partly to my mum. And I said, yeah, I've been to see a couple of Batman films with Barry from work. I mean, I didn't say Barry. That would be weird, but you know what I mean. For the purpose of this story. And then there was like a little gap of silence. And then my granddad did, the very grandparent thing. And he went, and who's Barry? Like, grandfather? Very legal name, yes. But my granddad was like interested. He was like, tell me, like, buddy, grandfather, truly. Fun times, yes. No, that was my granddad at me. During that story, he was like, eyes. But yes. Interesting, it's true. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Definitely that's what he meant by that, absolutely. It was my aunt, yes, who asked about Vic on Facebook. My whole family's obsessed with you all, basically. My whole family's obsessed with all of you. I'm trying to remember, yeah. 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 I'm gonna say something, but I might not like it. I mean, go for it. It doesn't help. What I said. I mean, you know the thing, so I'll be guided by you. But if you wanna, if you wanna say it now, you say it now. If you wanna DM me, DM me. But I'm scared. What is it? What is it, Barry? What is it? Okay. Okay. So I kinda... Ooh! Oh dear. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry, Barry. I'm sorry. Oops. My bad, y'all. My bad. So when... So if you tell your grandparents that you went to the cinema with, for the purpose of the stream, let's say Snow, that you went to the cinema with Snow, are they like thinking it's somebody that isn't me? Because oof, have fun with that. Yeah, no, fair. Yellow snow, oh my god. Oh my god, the yellow snow. Okay. Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, my main local grandparent is my nan, and respectfully, she's not in the loop of friends particularly. Whether you're drawn to that name, oh no, oh no, no, me, my ex, your childhood best friend. Oh my god, oh wow, okay, okay. Very drawn to Snow. Oh, thanks. I only know one Mimi, but that's all there you go. I saved it. I only know one Mimi, but I only need to know one Mimi. One Mimi is all I need. And yes, Sabine, I love you as well. Thanks, thank you. Yes, I didn't know what to say, but I think I saved it there, and I think I pulled it off. Nobody's suspicious, no, not at all. But yeah, no. Apparently, there's a lot of Snows. Yeah, interesting. I mean, there's a lot of people with my name about. When I was in school, when I was in big school, whatever you call it in your countries. When I was in big school, there was 7 people in my year with, including me, 7 people with my name. It was like, ugh, it was long. It was long, you know. And there was fucking 4 of us in the same class as well. Like, they did not split us up as evenly as you'd want them to. I will tell a story without doxing. Hang on. Your sibling's middle name is just my name, spelled a little different. Like a different number of letters, perhaps, perchance, maybe. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, okay, cool. Nice. Okay, sorry, yeah. I'm on a school tangent for a minute, right? My school, in my year group in school, right, we had about 150 kids, and so we had 5 classes of about 30. Let's say, right? 5 classes. In my school, in my year group, by complete coincidence, there were 2 boys with the same name. Let's say their name was John Smith, right? 2 people with the name John Smith. They put them in the same class. What? Why would you do that? I wasn't in their class, but there were 2 kids with the same... Oh, Why would you put them together? I don't understand it. Because like they weren't related, nothing like that. But like, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, it was dumb. It was so dumb. So silly, so dumb. Even wasn't put in with the surname in the same class. Oh, did you? Oh, interesting. Okay. I feel like... Ooh, my Discord's really woken up. Wow. Yeah, no, I feel like, to be fair, of the surnames in the world, yours is... Well, yours is more common than mine, let's put it that way. Let's put it that way, Barry. But yeah, no, that's still dumb. Did I have that ever? Two with the same surname. In my own classes, I mean. I don't think I did. Maybe I did, I can't remember. Take zero offense, I've already made friends by parents. I'm yeeting it when you get married. Ooh. That's fair. Well, right, okay. Barry, you don't know the struggle of me whenever I have to give in my name. Every single time I have to spell it. Every single time I will say it out loud and then have to spell it because they won't get it. And the same the other way. If someone sees my name written down and says it out loud, they pronounce it wrong. Every time they pronounce it wrong. And it's like... Okay, why can't I have a common name like fucking... I'm trying to think of a name without doxing somebody that I know, but I can't. I don't know. But common names that you can just fucking spell. Stinky. Your mum's maiden name was better, so that's very rude. My mum's maiden name was an interesting name. It was interesting. It was a common, but it's commonly spelled a little different. Oh, that's pain, yeah. Jams. That's pain when it's spelled a bit differently. I love your last name. Your last name's so good. Thank you. You're welcome. I like it, yeah. This is going out the window so fast. There. Yo, I heard... This might be wrong. I heard when you get married, like, you know, you can change your name legally. For free. I believe you can change your name legally when you get married. But you don't have to necessarily change it to the name of the person you're marrying. You can just pick a new name. That would be fun. Pick a new surname, like... You could just fully rebrand, yeah. Just rebrand it. I don't know what surname I'd want. I would definitely want a surname that I could say out loud and people would just get it. People would just know how to spell it. But why? Sorry, I've got lost in my own head there now. When X's last name was actually Berry. Ooh. Ooh, okay, interesting. You're also so not attached to your surname, but I also don't know if I'll be married one day, so I guess I'm stuck with it. I mean that too. That too, Sabine, honestly. Big mood. Big mood. Who knows, hey? Who knows? Exes are not allowed to share names with defenders. Change my names now. I mean... yeah. I always say if I do get married, I just want to take my last name for tradition. I like your surname. Sorry. Sorry, that was that was too direct. No, I feel it though. I don't know what I would do. Here is that. I don't know what. Yeah, no. Could pick a better name. I would be down for that, honestly. I would be down to just pick a better name that me and whomever else likes. What's this? What is this? I think I know what this is. Yeah, I know what that is. Okay. Pick a name from a hat. Oh, I need more control than that, I think. There you go. Surname generator. Give me a good surname. Write some last names. I'm waiting a moment, apparently, for it to generate some last names. They're shit. They're shit last names. I don't want any of them. Adam, Bell, Daniels, Day, Bush, Freeman, Cross, Chambers, Marshall. I don't want any of those last names. They suck. Adam. I'm not having Adam as a last name. Like, Adam is a first name, but not as a last... Adams? That is a name. Adams. Not Adam. Your fantasy surname generator. Give me that. Oh no, they're like actual fantasy ones. They're like actual fantasy ones like Stone Crusher and things. I can't be that. It's really liking Chambers. Chambers, Alves. I don't even know. Rostic, Petrova. No, I'm giving up on that. Singleton, there you go. There you go, Singleton. Nice. Thanks for that. No, Mimi, because it's Maximoff. Genuinely, the thought entered my head already. For Maximoff. Like, that's actually what I'd have to do. I would have to name myself after somebody. Be it like a character like Maximoff. Dare I say an actress like Olsen? I wouldn't want to be on Olsen, though. Snow Leighton. There you go, Snow Leighton. Sabine's got it. Genius. Oh, Snow Altava, that's cute. Snow Altava could be cute. Actually, that is cute. That's just taking root in my brain. Snow Altava. Oh. Singleton, yeah. Besties, should we all get married and change all of our names to Singleton? Should we like all get married and all change our names to Singleton? Let's do that. Snow Altava is cute. It really is though, isn't it? Snow Altava. Yeah. Aww. No, okay. Yes. Somebody needs to make that command now. Who's with the all in? Okay. I feel like this one's a bit loud as well. Let's turn it down a bit. It's 1:10. It's 1:10 in the morning. Oh dear. Oh dear. I need to have a shower before work tomorrow as well. Ah, no. Ah, no. I don't want to. Okay. Time is a constraint. I know, but... Bed, though. Bed. Bed. Mess up my nails? No. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the worst feeling. The worst feeling. I'm already in bed. No, it's not happening. I mean, I've got USB extension cables. It could maybe happen. I could maybe just turn the camera around and hope for the best. Also already in bed, so you need to go to bed. Right, okay, fine. Make me feel bad about being in a chair then. The sheer polish got clumpy. No. No, that sucks. That real sucks. I'm sorry. Feel bad about being in a chair. Truly, I'm living the chair life right now. Look at this chair user. Shut up. Shush. Let me live my life in my chair, okay? Right, if I go to bed, stream ends, so shut up. Everyone be nice to me. Mimi, you're sat in a chair. I know because you're painting your nails. And who paints their nails in a bed? Thank you, exactly. Exactly. Oh, you know what else I did recently? I took apart my Pro Controller. I disassembled it to try and fix the Joy-Con, not Joy-Cons, the sticks. And it worked. I feel smart. You have? Really? I don't think I could do that. I need a solid surface. I've tried to do it on my sofa before and I can't. I can't. Tech Guru. It wasn't too bad, actually. I did fuck up one of the screws because all sense of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey just left my brain and I fucked it. But apart from that, it's fine. And it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't. Truly, yes, I do write Don Paulo's emails for him. You're chaotic, I know. My tech expertise. Yes, writing an email and attaching a file to it. Because Don Paulo can't do it. Oh, very. Have you seen we're getting headsets? Have I told you this? Have you seen this? Headsets in our store. Yeah. Like in other shops, like little, I assume like on one ear with a little like microphone and then just like a little headband thing. What do you mean how? We just got them. I don't want them. And I really do not want to use them and I hope they don't catch on. I really don't want them. What are we using for? It's for what we use the little radio for. Just to be in contact with each other. But like... I don't necessarily want to be in constant contact with Paul and Steve and Rita. Like, you know, if it was like... It would slap on a Thursday close with me, Dan and Elaine. That would be so good. That would be elite. To have us three just on headsets to each other, that would be amazing. But like generally, but I hope they don't catch on. I don't want to use them. I don't want to. And Paul asked me to set them up, but I didn't have time. I don't want the McDonald's drive-through mic. Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't want that either. When did we get those? They arrived in the store, I think early this week, maybe late last week. But they've, of course, been in Don Paulo's office because he wants me to set them up, because of course he does. But then he gives me a million other jobs to do, so I haven't got round to it. And to be honest, I'm not in a rush. Not in a rush to get round to the headsets. Because the little radios are great, and they're not obtrusive. Saying that, I'm aware I have pockets. Like, the man privilege of pockets has not left the chat yet for me. So, like, I want no part of it, because I just want to put a radio in my pocket and move on with my life. You didn't say not very difficult? I've got no idea, Sabine. No idea. Yeah, no, literally, that's what he does, because he's like, he told me could I do them on Monday? You know, yesterday, because you were there. He asked if I could do them on Monday. You know, when I'm downstairs on the tills at the end of the day. No. No, that was not happening. Oh, really? No, I've just been handed the box and told figure it out. Which, to be fair, I might be able to do. I don't know. But, yeah. Yeah, you'd think so. No. Nope. I assume they just hope that every single store has somebody that's tech savvy in there. Which, given our company, maybe not. Oh, older Berry. Older than you. Older than me. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. I might just be like, sorry, Paul, I can't set them up. Again, for legal reasons, that is a joke. But I'm sorry, Paul, I can't work it out. I don't know if they won't connect to each other. There's nothing I can do. They're broken. Oh no. Oh, sorry, Paul. I've accidentally trodden on all. Oh dear. Sorry, they're broken. Yeah. I know. But like, some people are not going to use them, are they? Like, could you imagine on a real level, like Elaine or Rita wearing a headset? Gonna feel like a secret agent with your headset. Well, to be fair, the problem with the little radios is when somebody... Do you ever get that where, like, you're, like, upstairs, say, and somebody says, Barry, there's someone proper dodgy who's just come up in the lift, and they're fucking walking right past you. Because I've had that before. And it's like, oh, great, thanks. Thanks. So hopefully if we had headsets, that wouldn't happen. But then... Because I know what it's like. If you have, like, Dan on the radio... No, if you have Dan in your ear talking all the time, I'm not going to be able to sell transactions, and she's going to make me laugh at some point. Like... It's not going to be the vibe they think it is. Just yapping on the headsets. I mean, some shops I go in, they just yap, the members of staff just yap on the headsets. Like, if it was like a cool workplace, it might be a vibe, but like, no. No, I don't, no. Well, I really need to end stream because it's actually late. Oh, I haven't eaten my apple. Oh, I need to end stream and eat an apple. Sorry, that's a really weird priority to have. I need to get off stream and eat an apple. Snow, yes. Hello. Oh, you're going to tell me to go to bed, aren't you? I see it coming. Get that apple. I will get that apple. I don't know. I eat apples late at night. It's what I do. It's like, it's my late night snack, and then it's like I have a banana like early on in the day, and then I have an apple late in the day. Like, I'm healthy 24 hours a day.
Go to bed.
Banana. Thanks, yes. Thank you. Yeah, no, I will go to bed. So streams, yes. I'm busy tomorrow. I think I'm busy on Thursday as well. So perhaps Friday? Yes, you need sleep, Sabine, as well. You do need sleep. Banana, yes. Yes, dear, yes, banana. Yeah, so not tomorrow, not Thursday. Probably, well, hang on. Please hold. Because I saw something in somewhere. Okay, no, never mind. I wasn't sure if I'd missed an announcement somewhere, but I haven't. It's fine. So maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. I don't know. I do not know, besties. Yeah. Okay. So I will put us on the ending screen. Oh yeah, we're not going to raid anyone because out of everybody I follow, the smallest streamer has 120 viewers. No. Scared, thank you. So, we are just going to end, and yes, I will chat in the Discord. I'm sure I'll chat to you all in between streams anyway. Okay. I'll see you in announcement an hour later, as always. You got this, bestie. You got this. Bye, Snell Tower. It's cute. I love that. Okay. Good night.
Squeak. Squeak.